Bond 25, No Time to Die, delayed 3 times by the pandemic. And I've had a few rants. I've even produced a video saying, for goodness sake, release this film on video. Don't make us wait another 6 months to see this film. Having seen it on the big screen, I was wrong. I admit that. It was well worth waiting to see it on the big screen. But before we discuss it, we should watch the trailer. So here it is.
James, fate draws us back together. Now your enemy is my enemy. How did that happen?
Well, you live long enough.
Harder to tell the good from bad, villains from heroes these days.
We used to be able to get into a room with the enemy. Now they're just floating in the ether.
She still loves you. Did you know that?
What is it?
You don't know what this is. Is she one of them?
I don't know her at all.
When her secret finds its way out, it'll be the death of you.
James Bond. We both eradicate people to make the world a better place. I just want to be a little tidier.
I met your new 00. She's a disarming young woman.
You ever flown one of these things before?
Nope.
Come on, Bond. Where the hell are you? If we don't do this, there will be nothing left to save. When you're ready.
You're late.
Can I just have one nice evening, please, before the world explodes?
Oh, fantastic, Pascal. I still have goosebumps and shivers down the back of my spine seeing that trailer. And tell me, was it worth the wait?
It was worth the wait, but it was a very long wait. As you
Yes.
mentioned, we actually talk about Bond 25 in episode 2 of the Two Geeks and Marketing podcast. That's taking us back to July 2020. At that time, it had been delayed because the release was meant to be November 2019. Then it got pushed to April. And by the time we recorded episode number 2, we knew that it'd been pushed to November 2020. And you and I were reviewing the marketing campaign of the time. And actually, we had lots to say around the choice of posters and trailers and some of the interaction they had with the fans on social media. But then it carried on to be delayed and over again. But I'm guessing that I saw the movie on, let's say, the small screen. I got the Blu-ray for Christmas. But I'm guessing that you've enjoyed the big screen experience because this clearly, I could tell, was filmed for the big screen. We know that they shot this using IMAX cameras in addition to the 65mm span of vision.
Yeah, I mean, it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous to see it on the big screen. I mean, we've already had a discussion about this in the green room, and the color palette of the film, the treatment, the scenery, the action sequences, the sound design, you know, it was immersive. I mean, I've been critical of a lot of films over the last decade that I just think are too long. I find that a lot with the Marvel movies. You know, they seem to have to be at least 2.5 to 3 hours long. And when I first saw that this Bond film was 2 3/4 hours, I thought, oh no, please don't go there. But it holds your attention all the way through. It actually uses that time perfectly. And I never felt at all that there was any padding. It all added to the story. And yeah, I was on the edge of my seat for the whole running time when I was in the cinema. And I don't even think I needed a loo break. It was so enthralling.
Yeah.
You know, I was sat there for the whole time.
Now, I enjoyed the movie thoroughly, like you, the storyline, and I loved, because this is a first as well, I love the way in which all 5 stories, all 5 films are linked, and you are rewarded as a fan, literally making reference to the first one, the second, and so on. For me, not only were we rewarded in terms of a very cohesive story with Daniel Craig at the centre, but it was also the many references and nods to the previous 24 Bond movies.
Yeah, I mean, I love that idea of being able to try and spot the references to the earlier films. And of course, there are people out there who are even geekier than us who have actually put together YouTube videos pointing out all the references. Now, I thought that I'd spotted quite a few, but there's a YouTube video on there that goes through it. And there are just so many I hadn't spotted, you know, even down to, you know, a split-second scene of 2 scientists in a corner, and they're wearing the same sort of suits, protection suits, hazmat type suits that Dr. No was wearing in the film Dr. No back in 1962. And it was literally on the screen for about 2 seconds. That level of detail and that level of homage to the past is just phenomenal.
And I think it all is in and around the end of the series. Now, there will be viewers and listeners who have not seen the film, so we're not going to talk about the story much more, but I will kind of present to you the case that this could have be the most talked about James Bond movies in the franchise at this point. Now, it's number 25, so you can play a lot in and around the hooks and the spins. This is the last with Daniel Craig, we know that. This is also the conclusion, as we mentioned, of a storyline that started in 2006 with Casino Royale. It has been delayed at least 3 times officially and 4 or 5 unofficially. It has certainly created a lot of press in and around how much it cost MGM in millions of dollars wasted in marketing. Particularly, we forget that, in the Chinese market, which is huge for them. There was obviously the talking around Danny Boyle being replaced by a lesser-known movie director, Kari Joji Fukunaga. However, there was no need to worry because the resource is just exceptional. It was also, you know, one where 5 days after the world premiere in London, actor Daniel Craig was made an honorary commander of the British Royal Navy to echo, obviously, the James Bond title. But we also know more recently that he was awarded the title of Companion of the Order of St. Michael St. George in the Queen's New Year's Honours List. It also recently became the best-selling movie of 2021, Blu-ray, DVD, and downloads combined. It's not bad, is it?
Not bad at all. And what I love about that New Year's Honour, and we seem to have talked about New Year's Honours quite a lot today, is that is the title that James Bond had in the Ian Fleming novels. So they've actually given Daniel Craig the actual honour that the fictional James Bond had in the books. And I just love that little touch. I think that's fabulous.
So what we think about the marketing, when I began reflecting on it and researching it, my concern was, have they used up pretty much everything they had in their arsenal? Because there was the 2019 campaign, because the movie was meant to be released. Then there was a 2020 campaign. I'm thinking, well, what's left for them to do? You and I mentioned, you know, they can't just recut a trailer. They can't just throw some new poster. They have to do something a bit different. And I suppose where there was a slight misjudgment on my part was, in fact, they don't have to do much because they can just piggyback on the effort of the last 2 years. And all they have to do is stay the course. And I think that's probably a lesson in there, Roger. Instead of inventing a third campaign that might take people by surprise or take them on a different journey, you just build on it. Now, as a reminder, you know, No Time to Die, you and I wanted to go and see it many a time. And we are thinking that as well, it was supported by multitude interviews and featurettes on TV, radio, and so on. It all started, as in this year's campaign, started in March 2021 when Billie Eilish won the Grammy for the song No Time to Die, the theme song of a movie that no one had seen yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable that the song, I mean, it did pretty well in the charts as well, I think. But the song being out effectively for almost 2 years before the actual film, I mean, that's just the way it turned out. But I guess it was there in the background. And interestingly enough, I teach this musical version of yoga in fitness clubs called Body Balance. And that song, No Time to Die by Billie Eilish, was one of the tracks that we got way back in the middle of 2020, and in fact, I recently brought it back. I was using it 2 years ago. I thought, oh, I'll bring that Billie Eilish song back now that No Time to Die. So that sort of almost set a post in the sand, didn't it? And they could build upon the stuff that was already out there. So maybe they didn't completely come up with another campaign, a third campaign. They really just built upon the foundations that they'd already put in place.
Indeed. So then you move into April. The bad news is, we won't be able to release, the movie. We need to push it again. But also it was followed very quickly on the 26th of May, 2021, where you and I actually mentioned that in the news segment of this show, Amazon purchasing MGM. And then suddenly people got to be worried. Well, actually, there was two things. Either you were hoping for No Time to Die to be shown on Amazon Prime, or you were not. But Barbara Broccoli and Michael J. Wilson, the two that steering the project, stated formally that this will get a theatre release worldwide. Just have to be patient.
Yeah, and at the time, I was very cross about that. I even did a video down at the harbour saying, for goodness sake, just release it on pay on demand. I want to watch it in the privacy of my own home. And I think it was the right decision, Pascal, I think, to save it and launch it on the big screen, because it has been phenomenally successful. And then, of course, the Blu-ray has followed, and the 4K version has sold so well.
And we mentioned it was filmed for the big screen, and they were right to stick to it. So then we move on to the summer. On the 31st of August 2021, the final international trailer is released on the official 007 YouTube channel and across social media with two straplines: "The wait is over" and "Every mission has led to this," which I thought was very thrilling.
Yes. And there was also a series of podcasts that they put out as well in the run-up to the release, which isn't as well known. It's worth searching it out, because there's quite a lot of information in there, not only about the story and the actors and the filming, but just the process of putting a film like this together. That's a nice little binge listen that you can go and find if you want it.
True, and they took the decision to make it a limited series. So I believe that the last one was published more recently. It's not going to go on forever. And I think it's almost like something you could take pleasure in finding for yourself. So from August, we're moving on to September. And of course, on the 10th of September in the US and a few days later in the UK, the teaser trailer to announce that the box office has opened. Go and get your tickets.
Yeah. I have to say, I've never ever bought a ticket for a film well in advance. I usually just buy it on the day I go to see the film. But again, it's a nice temperature check, isn't it, to see what the level of demand is going to be for it. And I think straight in there, we went to see it within a couple of days of it being released.
Yeah, so of course, vastly covered by the media of all forms, to the world premiere in London, and what a premiere that was. I mean, I watched it and be feeling quite envious. But a part of the PR push as well wasn't just look at us, we're having a premiere and all the right people are there. But this was also the kind of event for the James Bond charity benefit world premiere. And this has been one of the most successful fundraising activities, where they had raised over 1 million UK pounds for different charities. And that's been one of the most successful kind of fundraising event for the franchise.
Yeah, and of course, the actual day, that it finally came out was the 30th of September, which is almost 2 years later than it was originally intended.
I know. So when do you remember what date did you go and see it?
I think we probably went on. It was a Saturday before the 6th of October, so it would have been the day after it was released. We went on the 1st of October.
You were, because we recorded a podcast a week later on my birthday, and you said to me, "Oh my God, I can't wait for you to see the movie because I need to talk about it with somebody else." You mentioned that the podcast. Obviously, we almost had with No Time to Die a post-release push. You had to do that. So on the 7th of October, a day before my birthday, the Apple TV exclusive, which I think is an interesting one. Again, working with brands like Apple TV. So only available on Apple TV. Discover the untold story of Daniel Craig's 007, The Legacy, in a special retrospective. The title was Being James Bond. So there is a teaser version on YouTube, but the full version you have to wait for the rights to be released to all the streaming platforms if you don't have Apple TV.
Yeah. And of course, it didn't take long in the end for the Blu-ray, the DVD, and of course the download versions to come out. There was a campaign promoting collector's editions and this, that, and the other. But finally, the Blu-ray and the 4K and the download versions came out on the 20th of December. Now, again, I think back to that video when I was having a rant in the middle of 2020 saying, just release this on download. But, I would encourage anybody who's not seen this at all, go and see it at the cinema if you can. So you've got the big screen and you've got the surround sound. But if you can't go to the cinema, I would encourage you to actually buy the Blu-ray or the 4K version, because downloaded films, as good as they are, they always compress the audio, don't they, Pascal? And the audio suffers as a result of that compression, whereas with the DVD, Blu-ray, 4K version, you're always going to get the full sound experience. And again, that's well worth paying that little bit of extra for if you can.
And we did, the soundbar wasn't full, I can tell you. And the images were just so clear and neat. Because sometimes, actually, you've been there, I've bought some Blu-rays, and particularly with dark scenes, the contrast is just too much. You can't see anything.
Yeah.
This looked absolutely beautiful, so the rendering has been exceptional. They kind of carried on keeping the excitement going till the end of the year. So on Christmas Day, they had a kind of lovely animated Merry Christmas message on social media using the dots that we saw on the opening credits, which actually is an echo of the Dr. No opening credits. And then there was also on Boxing Day, for thinking about maybe families getting together, you could access the 2021 Christmas quiz on the official Bond website. I had a quick look. It was bloody hard, I tell you. I consider myself a fan, but there was many things I didn't know about the Bond universe.
Oh, that's interesting. And of course, this year, 2022, will be the 60th anniversary of the release of Dr. No.
That's right.
Can't believe that.
So
wow.
Just wrapping up, to a point, that the marketing review on New Year's Day, on the 1st of January, across all official social media, the message was, this year we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the James Bond series. Watch out for announcements, events, and new content across 2022.
So they're going to obviously keep up the pressure and keep up the momentum. Again, I think that the lesson you learn here is that marketing takes time. And yes, they had to delay the product, but the marketing couldn't stop. And I think that we should learn from that, and it's being tenacious, but it's also about building upon the foundations that you put down and not totally reinventing them, which is what they did here.
That's what they did. And you and I could cite examples from all the other film marketing campaigns. And so, well, what about this? What about the other? And what I will say is, I think that their marketing campaign is very much a push type of marketing campaign. There's not a great deal of interaction with the audience like we've seen with other blockbusters, but that's their decision, and they stuck with it. And for my part, if as an audience I've had to literally contend with 3 different marketing campaigns every single time with 3 different kind of executions and maybe look and feel and tone. That could have been just tricky. Here, what I had was, admittedly, I really had to be very patient, but a 2-year-long campaign where they just went back and revisited. They got everybody from cast and crew involved in different things. And I will say, from a point of view of inspiration, I would encourage people to really check out the official 007 social media accounts and just observe what they do across a month or 2, and you would learn a lot of interesting tricks from them.
So to finish off, Pascal, would you say it's the best Bond movie that they've ever made?
No Time to Die? No, I will say that for me, personally, Skyfall still, for me, Skyfall is 10 out of 10. This one's maybe 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, one of my all-time favourites is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. We've reviewed that before in film marketing. And of course, without giving away anything about the plot, there are some lovely musical cues and callbacks in No Time to Die 2 On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So that, to me, tied those 2 films together very strongly. And maybe On Her Majesty's Secret Service is still my favourite, but this one is definitely in the top 10. Definitely in the top 10. And I would agree with you that it's probably a 9 out of 10. Skyfall, I think Skyfall had a few flaws as well, but I think I agree with your scoring system there. So that's absolutely spot on. So hasn't it been good to talk finally about No Time to Die? We really have gone through all of those episodes of the podcast. We talked about it in episode 2, but of course we hadn't seen the film. And now finally in episode 63, we can talk about the film.
63, yeah.
So all of that work that we've done and all the reviews and all the content spotlights and the marketing tech and apps have gone under the bridge, and finally No Time to Die is in our sights. Everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening to the first 2 Geeks and a Marketing podcast episode of 2022. We do appreciate you listening. We do appreciate you watching. We would appreciate if you were to give us some feedback, give us some comments either on the YouTube channel, or you can look for us on Twitter. But until the next episode, please do go out there and make sure that your marketing is done right. I was Roger Edwards and he was Pascal Fintoni.